The flashing red and blue lights reflected in the rearview mirror as Michael Carter tightened his grip on the steering wheel. His 7-year-old daughter, Lily, sat quietly in the back seat, hugging her worn teddy bear against her chest. They had already been through enough that day. The last thing Michael needed was another problem. Before we continue, if you believe in kindness, second chances, and the power of ordinary people helping one another, please like this video, leave a comment, share it with someone you care about, and subscribe to the channel, Soulful Stories. Your support keeps these stories alive. Michael slowly pulled his old pickup truck to the side of the road. The truck coughed and rattled before finally stopping. He closed his eyes for a second. He already knew why he had been pulled over. One of the taillights had stopped working weeks ago, and he had simply not had the money to replace it. 3 years earlier, life had looked completely different. Michael had been married, had a steady job as an electrician, and had a small but happy home. Then tragedy came without warning. His wife, Emma, became seriously ill and passed away within months. The grief nearly destroyed him. Hospital bills consumed their savings. He lost work because he spent every available moment by her side. Suddenly he became a single father, carrying responsibilities he had never imagined facing alone. Every morning began before sunrise. He would prepare Lily's breakfast, braid her hair after watching countless online tutorials, take temporary jobs wherever he could find them, and somehow still try to be both father and mother to the little girl who depended entirely on him. That particular day had been especially difficult. The landlord had reminded him that rent was overdue. His refrigerator was nearly empty. He had spent the afternoon searching for additional work and was now driving home with less than $20 in his pocket. The police officer stepped out of her patrol car and approached the truck. She appeared to be in her late 30s, her expression professional but calm. She noticed the exhausted man behind the wheel and the little girl peeking nervously from the back seat. Michael handed over his license with trembling fingers. He hated moments like this. It felt as though life kept testing him, pushing him further and further toward a breaking point. The officer examined his documents and looked around the old truck. Her eyes settled on the broken taillight and then on Lily. She asked a few routine questions. Michael answered politely. There was nothing else he could do. As she returned to her patrol vehicle to write the ticket, Michael stared straight ahead. He could already imagine the fine. Another bill. Another reminder that he was failing to keep up with life's demands. Lily leaned forward from the back seat. She looked at her father with worried eyes. Children understand more than adults often realize. She had seen him count coins before buying groceries. She had seen him skip meals and claim he wasn't hungry. She knew he was carrying burdens too heavy for one person. Several minutes later, the officer returned. She held the ticket book in her hand but didn't immediately speak. Instead, she studied Michael's face. Exhaustion lived there. So did sadness. Then she noticed something else. On his left hand was a faded wedding ring. The officer looked at it for several moments before quietly saying that if he were not married, she would probably add another citation for failing to update his address on the license. The word surprised him. He looked at his ring. He had never taken it off. It was not because he expected life to return to what it had been. It was because removing it felt like letting go of Emma completely. Keeping the ring was his way of carrying her memory forward. For the first time since the stop began, his eyes filled with tears. He explained softly that his wife had passed away 3 years earlier and that he simply had never found the strength to remove the ring. The officer's expression changed immediately. She looked at Lily again. Then she looked back at the tired father before her. Something inside her seemed to shift. She closed the ticket book. Instead of handing him a citation, she asked him to wait. Again she returned to her patrol vehicle. This time she remained there longer. Michael assumed she was checking records. Several minutes passed. Finally she came back. There was no ticket in her hand. She gave him a warning regarding the taillight and then handed him a small card. On it was information about a community assistance center. She explained that the center helped families experiencing hardship. They assisted with food, school supplies, utility bills, and even job placement. Michael thanked her politely. He assumed she was simply being kind. He had no idea that the story was not over. The following morning his phone rang. A woman from the assistance center introduced herself. She already knew his situation. The police officer had called after her shift ended and personally recommended his family for emergency support. Michael was speechless. Within a week, volunteers delivered groceries to his home. They repaired his broken taillight for free. Lily received new school supplies and several books she had been wanting to read. More importantly, the center connected Michael with a local electrical company searching for experienced workers. 2 weeks later, he was hired. The pay was steady. The hours were reasonable. For the first time in years, he could breathe. One evening he sat at the kitchen table watching Lily color pictures. The refrigerator contained food. The rent was paid. For the first time since Emma's death, the house felt peaceful. Tears rolled down his face. Not because everything was perfect, but because someone had noticed. Someone had seen beyond an old truck and a broken taillight. Someone had looked past the paperwork and recognized a man doing everything possible to raise his daughter alone. Months later, Michael and Lily attended a community appreciation event. Among the guests was the same police officer. Lily immediately ran toward her and wrapped her small arms around her waist. The officer looked surprised. Then she smiled. Michael thanked her again. He told her she had changed their lives. She gently shook her head. She said she had only made one phone call. But sometimes, one phone call is enough. Sometimes one moment of compassion can become the bridge that carries someone from despair to hope. As the evening ended, Michael looked at his daughter laughing nearby. He touched the wedding ring on his finger. For the first time, he did not feel trapped by grief. Instead, he felt grateful. Emma's memory remained with him, but now there was room for hope too. If this story has touched your heart in any way, please take a moment to like this video, leave a comment, share it with your friends, and subscribe to Soulful Stories. And before we end, please write the word kindness in the comments if you believe a single act of compassion can completely change someone's life. As Michael and Lily walked home beneath the evening sky, he realized something beautiful. Sometimes heroes do not wear capes. Sometimes they wear uniforms, carry ticket books, and choose mercy when they have every right to choose something else. And sometimes the smallest act of kindness arrives exactly when a struggling heart needs it most.